Hey, what's going on guys? Pocketable Tech here, and this is the Moto 360. I've been wearing this watch for about a little over a month now, so I pretty much have a good, well-rounded understanding of the Moto 360 and the things I like about it, as well as the things I don't like about it. So let's start off with the hardware first. You can see that the Motorola Moto 360 is one of the first circular smartwatches to hit the market. Not only that, but it's one of the more premium devices to hit the market. We also have Horween leather wrist straps that smell and also feel quite nice on the wrist. They've been holding up fairly well for the past month, and I really like them. The Moto 360 has this black bar at the bottom, which I'm sure you guys have already heard people complain about. And what that is, that's essentially where Motorola put all their sensors. So you have the ambient light sensor in there, and they needed that area to put the sensors, otherwise the bezel would have had to been a lot thicker. After using it for about a week, you start to disregard that black bar, and your eyes don't even focus on it when you look at the display. And even more so when you use a black watch face, as you can see with this watch face right here, hopefully it focuses, you can see that it's hard to even tell that there is a black bar even there. So what I would say about this is, yes, of course, in future iterations, we're probably going to see a smaller black bar, probably no black bar at all. I know LG is already working on the LG G Watch R, and that is going to have no black bar. But the thing about that watch is the bezel is going to be much thicker. Think G-Shock, for those that like the Casio G-Shock. That's what it's going to look more like, more sportier. So it's cool in that sense because it can be used for different occasions. But if you're looking for a classy watch face like that, that's almost bezel-less, you know, more screen real estate, the Moto 360 looks like it's going to be one of the only smartwatches on the market for a while to implement this type of design. One of the big features of the Moto 360 is, aside from the premium hardware that we just went over, is the software. So Moto 360 is running Android Wear, which is Google's OS. It's their smartwatch OS. And it's the third smartwatch to be running this operating system.
For those not completely aware of Google Now, to put it simply, it's a personal assistant service that uses your geographical location and search history to give you information that's relevant to you, according to your place and point in time. In the form of cards, Google Now on a smartwatch means you will occasionally get traffic information of regular places you commute to, whether you drive, bike, or take public transportation. You will also be notified of the best route when on the go. You will also receive information of places nearby like restaurants and other local attractions. You will be notified of package shipping statuses, stock quotes, weather updates, and a bevy of other features. You will also have the ability to set alarms, timers, reminders, and calendar events. Again, these are just a few features that you have with Google Now, and the service only continues to improve the more you use it. So once again, having a smartwatch that runs Android Wear essentially means that you have Google Now functionality at the flick of your wrist, which is very useful.
And it's not the first to be running this operating system. Actually, two smartwatches before this are the LG G Watch as well as the Galaxy Gear Live. Those two smartwatches also run Android Wear. So if you're debating between this and those two watches, they're essentially the same as far as functionality. The only differentiating factor between this watch and the LG G Watch and the Galaxy Gear Live is the physical appearance and the hardware. And the Moto 360 being a much more premium device, again, with the stainless steel, as well as, you know, the circular display, which gives it this very classy look. Both of the other watches that I just mentioned are rectangular, more of a geekier looking watch, which, again, I'm not saying is a negative thing, but that's just to be said. It's more of a standard looking, what you think of when you think of a smartwatch. This is more incognito. You wear this, and a lot of people won't even know that you're wearing a smartwatch, which is kind of cool. Touching briefly on the display, it's a 320 by 290 resolution, which equals about 205 pixels per inch. So definitely not HD. So if you're looking close, you're definitely going to notice some pixels. However, that being said, the text is quite legible, and also the time face is displayed quite nicely. So I really wouldn't worry about the resolution that much. It looks pretty nice for the screen size.
Internally, the specs aren't anything spectacular. Looking at the paper specs reveals an outdated Texas Instrument OMAP 3630 chipset, which is an SoC that we haven't seen used since 2010 in devices like the Palm Pre 2 and the Droid X. But don't be fooled. Just like Motorola showed us with the Moto X and Moto G, high-end specs aren't always necessary to provide a smooth user experience. After all, this is a smartwatch, which main purpose is to provide a secondary screen for your smartphone's notifications. So we really don't need quad-core processors and an exuberant amount of RAM. Talking about RAM, the Moto 360 comes equipped with 512 megabytes of RAM, which again is more than sufficient for a Bluetooth connected smartwatch. Since using the Moto 360, I haven't experienced any hiccups that I would attribute to the hardware, but rather to the software. And the good thing about software is that it's still in its infancy, and software is something that can be updated and made better as time goes on. There has already been a software update from Motorola that has drastically improved the battery life. But until some major advancements are made, battery life is going to be an ongoing discussion when it comes to electronics, especially when we're talking about smartwatches and smaller devices when the hardware just doesn't allow the space for big bulky batteries. Motorola was able to squeeze in a 320 mAh cell to power the Moto 360. After using this watch for 4 weeks, I can tell you honestly that the battery life fares well when compared to the battery life you will find on other smartwatches with LCD displays. You're definitely going to need to charge it every 12 to 24 hours, depending on how often you wake the device and at what brightness level you have it set to, but you'll definitely be able to get through a solid workday before needing to recharge it, and that's what matters most.
But also what's nice about the Moto 360 is that they included Qi wireless charging. So inside the back of here you have a Qi wireless magnetic receiver, and it actually comes with a wireless charging dock. So at the end of the night, charging is as simple as unstrapping it from your wrist and sitting it down on the dock, which is very nice and very easy to do. And even one more positive thing about the battery is that it charges from 0, practically 1% to 100% in under 2 hours. I was able to charge this from 1% to 100% in an hour and 40 minutes, which is very quick. The Moto 360 comes in with a built-in heart rate monitor, so you can check your heart rate at all times. It also comes with a pedometer that checks how many steps you walk in a day. Ambient light sensor is built in with that little black bar is at the bottom. That allows you to, if you set it to automatically adjust the screen depending on the brightness, it can do that because it has the ambient light sensor. And also there is a small little button on the right hand side that you can press to wake or shut the device. But again, because it has the gyroscope built in, once you raise it up to look at it, it knows and it will turn and display automatically. On the left hand side of the bezel, you will see a little hole, which is the microphone. And the microphone picks up quite nicely when you're doing Google Now functionality. So if you're going to be like, okay Google, it will notice your voice and it will pick up, and then you can ask it questions.
If you're one of the people that are still undecided whether a smartwatch is an investment worth your time and cash, we'll take these scenarios into consideration. When commuting to a new place, I regularly find myself using Google's navigation on my phone. But now that I own the Moto 360, getting directions means I don't have to take my eyes off the road. Instead, I can simply initiate Google's navigation by saying, okay Google, navigate to Sushi Palace, for example. And not only will it show me turn-by-turn navigation on the watch's display, but it will also use my phone's loudspeaker to announce the directions out loud. Again, no fumbling for my phone or having to open the Google Maps app or typing in the address. Another useful feature is the ability to voice dictate messages to contacts you have saved on your phone. Okay Google, send text message to Paulie, yo, when are we going to get some sushi? Simple enough. There's definitely room for improvement as the service isn't 100%. For instance, having a little longer delay before the message is sent would be welcomed. Right now when you dictate a message, you have to know everything you're going to say because the moment you pause to breathe, the text will end and send automatically. Also, it would be very nice to be able to press reply to an SMS text you receive rather than having to state the action, contact's name before each response. That being said, if you use Google Hangouts, you will find that it works much better since it allows you to select a reply button, and then all you have to do is dictate the message. Picture messages that come through will display, but due to the small screen size and resolution, you're probably going to grab for your phone anyway for a more detailed image. One cool thing though, when you send or receive emoticons, they will display on the watch itself, which if you like sending and receiving emoticons, it's pretty cool. Another benefit of having the Moto 360 is the ability to get random facts at the flick of a wrist. So instead of digging for my phone, unlocking it, opening the browser, and typing in a search query, instead, now I can be more involved with my surroundings by simply raising my wrist to check the time and saying, okay Google, what's the temperature outside? Or, who is the first emperor of China? Or, how old is Quentin Tarantino? It could be quite useful for helping you quickly figure out how much each person of a group of 5 needs to pay at a restaurant. Okay Google, what is $148 divided by 5? Having a smartwatch is a very nice and less intrusive way of getting information while also being quite fashionable. Do you need a smartwatch? No. Using your smartphone will do everything and more, but a smartwatch will save you some time. Even if it's only a couple minutes, minutes add up. So the question remains, is the Moto 360 worth your hard-earned cash? If you reside in the United States, the Moto 360 is going to run you $270 after taxes and all, which is about the price tag of a low to mid-range Citizen, Invicta, or Seiko. So when you consider the smart functionality and the fact that you can install any watch face you'd like, the price is actually pretty fair. Lastly, I want to touch on the durability. So I previously mentioned how I've been wearing the Moto 360 every day for the past month, and it seems to be holding up fairly well. It's even taken a few light and unintentional taps and bumps, and still the metal band and nor does the Gorilla Glass show any sort of imperfections. The Moto 360 is also dust and water resistant up to 3 feet deep for 30 minutes. So technically if you drop it in a 3-foot water bucket and let it sit for 30 minutes, it should be fine. That being said, I don't know how much the leather wristbands would like that, so I really haven't tested this, but it's nice knowing that if you get caught in a downpour, your watch isn't going to short circuit. One last point I want to make is that I've heard some reports of people using the Pebble Steel's metal band on the Moto 360, and discovering soon after that the back plastic on the Moto 360 was beginning to crack. So I'm not sure if this happened because they were using a Pebble Steel band, but I would take some extra precautions on what bands you choose to install. The durability otherwise has been very good, and that being said, I have been treating my Moto 360 with care.
Alright guys, so that's going to do it for this review. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If there's any questions that I happen to miss, especially because I'm doing this video in a different type of format, more ad-lib and straight to the point, definitely let me know in the comments below or on Twitter at PocketableTech, and I'll be sure to answer those questions, and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when new videos like this are posted. So that's going to do it for this video. As always, be safe, stay healthy. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.